The world was never truly ready for the unknown. Scientists had long speculated about extraterrestrial life, but nothing could prepare humanity for what came next. On a quiet evening, deep in the Nevada desert, an unidentified craft descended from the night sky, shrouded in mist and pulsating with an eerie blue light. Military radars failed to detect it, satellites couldn't track it, and for the first time in recorded history, Earth was no longer alone. A research outpost stationed nearby was the first to witness it, scientists frozen in terror as the hatch of the spacecraft slowly opened. A silhouette emerged, towering at nearly 9 feet, its form humanoid but not entirely human. It stepped forward with deliberate, almost graceful movements, scanning its surroundings with piercing, luminescent eyes. Every sensor, every camera, every witness felt an undeniable shift in reality. The day had come. First contact. Governments scrambled, militaries mobilized, and the world's most brilliant minds debated whether this was a moment of unity or a prelude to invasion. But before the chaos spiraled out of control, one brave individual dared to take the first step forward. A scientist, hands trembling but eyes filled with determination, reached out, offering the first attempt at communication. Would this be the beginning of a new era or the start of humanity's end? Now the story unfolds, diving into the mystery, the tension, and the impact of this encounter. It started as an ordinary night in the Nevada desert, vast, silent, and untouched. The stars flickered overhead, and the dry wind whispered through the rocky landscape. At a remote government research outpost, scientists monitored deep space signals, looking for anomalies in the cosmic noise. They never expected something to find them first. At 2:37 a.m., all electronic instruments went haywire. Radar screens turned to static, communication systems failed, and an eerie silence fell over the desert. Then, without warning, a brilliant blue light sliced through the night sky, a descending object, unlike anything seen before. It moved in defiance of gravity, shifting speeds in an instant before coming to a dead stop, hovering just above the ground. Security alarms blared, and personnel rushed to their posts. The craft was massive, at least 200 feet across, metallic yet organic-looking, shimmering as if it were alive. It made no sound, no visible propulsion, yet it held its position effortlessly. Then, the unthinkable happened. The craft lowered itself to the desert floor, kicking up a cloud of dust. The ground trembled beneath its presence, sending shockwaves through the facility. A hatch on the side of the ship began to open, light spilling out into the darkness. No one dared to move. Something was stepping out. A silhouette, nearly 9 feet tall, emerged from the glowing interior. It paused at the threshold, as if surveying its surroundings, then took a deliberate step forward. The first contact had begun, and humanity stood frozen at the edge of history. As the dust settled from the massive spacecraft's descent, an eerie silence hung over the Nevada desert. Military personnel stood frozen, their weapons trained on the towering, sleek structure that pulsed with an otherworldly glow. The air vibrated with an unexplainable energy, sending shivers down the spine of every soldier present. Then, without warning, a section of the ship's surface began to shift. It didn't open like a traditional door but rather melted away, revealing a dark void within. From the shadows emerged a towering silhouette, standing at least 9 feet tall, humanoid in form, yet unmistakably alien. Its elongated limbs moved with fluid precision, and its silver-gray skin seemed to shimmer under the artificial lights. Dr. Ethan Cole, a leading xenobiologist, stepped forward cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. He was unarmed, against the military's wishes, believing that aggression would lead to disaster. The alien's deep-set eyes locked onto him, scanning, analyzing, its expression unreadable. The moment stretched endlessly as the world held its breath. Then, in an unexpected motion, the towering being slowly raised a hand. Not in hostility, but in something unmistakable, a greeting. Ethan hesitated, then did the only thing that felt right. He lifted his own hand, mirroring the gesture. A single moment, a simple action, yet it would change the course of human history forever. The air was thick with tension. The massive figure towered over the human delegation, its piercing gaze locked onto them. No words were spoken, yet an overwhelming sense of awareness passed between them. Dr. Marcus Hayes, the linguist leading the team, steadied his breath, knowing that any wrong move could shatter the fragile moment. The 9-foot stranger's features were eerily human, elongated limbs, deep-set eyes, and skin that shimmered under the artificial lights of the landing site. But there was something else, an intelligence beyond human comprehension. It didn't move aggressively, nor did it retreat. Instead, it observed. Hayes slowly raised his hands, palms forward, a universal sign of peace. The alien did not react immediately. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. The team's instruments picked up subtle shifts in the creature's posture, micro-movements as if it were analyzing them, dissecting their intent. Then, it moved. One step forward. The military personnel tensed, fingers hovering over triggers. Hayes turned his head slightly and gave them a sharp look. Hold your fire. The last thing they needed was a show of force. The alien raised its own elongated hand, mirroring Hayes. The first real acknowledgement of communication. A wave of relief washed over the team. The moment was historic. The first contact had begun, not through words, but through silent understanding. But then, a deep, resonating sound vibrated through the air. A second figure emerged from the shadows. The standoff was no longer silent. The air was thick with tension as Dr. Elias Carter took a cautious step forward, his heart pounding in his chest. The towering figure before him remained still, its piercing gaze locked onto him. The world seemed to hold its breath. Behind him, the military personnel and scientists whispered frantically, debating whether to intervene. But Elias knew, this moment was too important. He raised his hands slowly, making sure not to appear threatening. Carefully, he tapped his chest and spoke in a steady, clear voice. Elias. His name echoed softly in the eerie silence. The alien remained motionless for a moment, then, in an unexpected move, mimicked his gesture. Its elongated fingers tapped its own chest, emitting a sound, guttural, resonant, yet strangely melodic. The scientists recorded feverishly, their equipment picking up every detail. Was it a name? A designation? Elias repeated his name again, then gestured toward the alien, inviting it to reciprocate. The creature's dark eyes studied him before repeating the same sequence of sounds. The team gasped. It was learning. The first fragile bridge of understanding had been built. Yet, despite this small breakthrough, one looming question remained: what did it want? Would this be the beginning of a peaceful exchange, or were they standing at the precipice of something far more dangerous? As the tension in the chamber thickened, the 9-foot stranger finally made a move. With slow, deliberate gestures, it touched its chest, then pointed toward the stars visible through the observation window. Dr. Elias Carter, the only human brave enough to remain standing, watched closely, deciphering what could be the first true contact between humanity and an extraterrestrial civilization. The alien's skin shimmered under the artificial lights, the hues shifting subtly, perhaps an indication of emotion. Elias cautiously mimicked the gesture, placing a hand on his own chest before nodding. The alien's head tilted slightly, an unmistakable sign of curiosity, if not understanding. Then, with a deep, resonant sound that vibrated the very air around them, the being spoke. It wasn't words as humans knew them, more like a harmonic pulse, layered and complex. The room's automated translation systems failed to interpret it, their screens flashing unintelligible errors. Elias, undeterred, took a bold step forward. "We need to find a way to understand each other," he said, his voice calm despite the fear clawing at his gut. He pointed to himself and then to the alien, repeating the gesture, adding his name, Elias. For a moment, the towering being remained motionless. Then, slowly, it raised a massive hand and pointed at its own chest. The sound it made next was shorter, clearer, almost as if it was trying to match Elias's speech pattern. A name? A designation? The room held its collective breath. The silence between two civilizations was finally broken. The air inside the dimly lit chamber was thick with tension as Dr. Elias Carter sat across from the alien being, whom they had now tentatively named VA Core. Unlike the fear-laden encounters before, this was different. This was a dialogue. The initial tests had confirmed that VA Core was intelligent, but what astounded the scientists was its rapid comprehension of human language. Using a combination of holographic displays and tonal mimicry, VA Core began piecing together words, forming crude yet understandable sentences. "You, not enemy," it rumbled, its voice deep and resonant. The room fell silent. The scientists behind the observation glass held their breath. Elias, maintaining his composure, responded carefully. "No. We seek knowledge, understanding," he said, emphasizing the words with gestures, ensuring clarity. VA Core tilted its head, processing the response. Then, with deliberate movement, it placed its enormous hand on the table between them. The gesture was unmistakable, a sign of trust. Elias hesitated only a moment before reciprocating, placing his hand over VA Core's. The sheer size difference was humbling. A hushed murmur spread among the scientists. The first true act of trust had been made. Then came the revelation. VA Core began speaking in full sentences, fragmented but clear enough. "We, not first. Others, came before. War. Ended." A chill ran down Elias's spine. "Others? Who?" VA Core's glowing eyes dimmed for a moment before it uttered a single phrase that sent shockwaves through the room. "They, like you." This changed everything. As the tension between humanity and the towering alien deepened, Dr. Elias Carter knew that time was running out. The alien, whom he had come to call VA Run, had begun to communicate in fragmented English, a sign that it was adapting, learning, and, perhaps, understanding. But with military forces surrounding the isolated research station, the question remained, was humanity ready to listen? VA Run finally broke its silence. "Your kind, not first," it said, its deep voice reverberating through the sterile chamber. The words sent a chill down Carter's spine. Not the first? Did that mean other civilizations had encountered these beings before? And if so, what had happened to them? The alien extended a long-fingered hand toward a control panel and, in a swift motion, activated a projection. A holographic recording materialized before them, images of vast cities, towering spires, and glowing technology far beyond human comprehension. But the images flickered, shifting into scenes of destruction, entire civilizations wiped clean from existence. Carter's breath caught. "Who did this?" he asked. Vieron's piercing eyes locked onto his. "You." The room fell into a heavy silence. The revelation was impossible, unthinkable. Humanity had never encountered intelligent alien life before, or so they had believed. But if Vieron was telling the truth, then the history they knew was a lie. Outside, the military demanded answers. Inside, Carter faced a truth that could change everything. The tension in the room was palpable as Dr. Carter and the towering figure before him locked eyes. The once doubtful scientists now watched in hushed silence, witnessing history unfold. The 9-foot stranger, who had remained largely unreadable, now tilted its head slightly, a gesture Carter interpreted as curiosity, perhaps even recognition. Carter slowly raised his hand, palm open, mirroring the gesture the being had made earlier. It was a simple act, but in this delicate moment, it was everything. The alien's elongated fingers twitched before it reciprocated the movement. A hushed gasp rippled through the observation chamber. "This is it," Carter whispered. "This is first contact." The alien's eyes, deep and luminous, reflected a universe of unknown stories. It moved its hand in slow, deliberate motions, tracing patterns in the air, symbols, perhaps a language yet to be deciphered. Carter furrowed his brows, his mind racing to interpret, to make sense of it. Was this their way of saying peace? Or was it something more? He tapped into his instincts, drawing from years of studying human and nonverbal communication. Carefully, he reached into his pocket, retrieving a small holographic projector. He activated it, displaying the Earth and its place in the solar system. The alien took a step closer. For the first time since its arrival, it made a sound, a deep, resonating hum that seemed to vibrate in Carter's chest. He wasn't sure what it meant, but he knew one thing: they had taken the first step toward true understanding. Tensions had been rising ever since the first contact. While Dr. Elias Carter and his team sought to understand the towering extraterrestrial visitor, world leaders were growing increasingly uneasy. Nations debated whether to welcome the being as a guest or treat it as a potential threat. The media spread fear, and governments scrambled to take control of the situation. Inside the remote research facility, the alien, whom Elias had started calling Vale, seemed aware of the growing hostility. It observed human behavior with silent contemplation, its golden eyes scanning the news reports and tense discussions displayed on digital screens. Vale had tried to communicate through gestures, subtle expressions, and technology-enhanced vocalizations, but the full depth of its purpose remained a mystery. One night, everything changed. A military convoy arrived unannounced, surrounding the facility. The order had come from higher up: Vale was to be taken into custody. Elias protested, standing between Vale and the armed soldiers, but the commander ignored him. Vale's expression darkened as soldiers raised their weapons. The air grew heavy, charged with unseen energy. Elias felt it before he saw it. Vale's body pulsed with an unearthly glow, and a deep hum resonated through the facility. The soldiers hesitated, but their orders were clear. A single misstep, one nervous pull of a trigger, and humanity's first contact with an intelligent alien species would turn into an interstellar catastrophe. The room stood still, caught between peace and destruction. As the dust settled and the world held its breath, the final moments of humanity's first contact with the towering 9-foot stranger unfolded in ways no one had anticipated. The tension that had gripped the room mere hours ago had transformed into something entirely different, an unspoken understanding between two intelligent beings from vastly different worlds. Dr. Elias Carter, now standing face to face with the extraterrestrial, could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. Every word, every movement mattered. The alien, whom the team had tentatively named Solon, turned its piercing, intelligent eyes toward Elias, its deep, resonant voice humming in a language barely decipherable. Elias slowly raised his hand, mirroring Solon's own gesture. This time, Solon did not hesitate. Their fingertips hovered inches apart, an eerie energy passing between them. A shared vision flashed in Elias's mind, images of distant planets, advanced civilizations, and a dire warning about a looming galactic threat. The room erupted into frantic movement as scientists scrambled to document the phenomenon, but Elias remained motionless, overwhelmed by the sheer enormity of what he had just witnessed. The message was clear: this was not just a meeting of two species. It was a test, a first step toward something much greater, and far more dangerous. As Solon turned to leave, stepping back toward the mysterious portal that had brought it here, it left behind a single artifact, an intricate, glowing device pulsing with unknown energy. The implications were staggering. Was this a gift? A key? Or a warning? Elias clutched the device, staring at the portal as it sealed shut. One thing was certain: humanity was no longer alone, and their next step would determine the future of Earth itself. The world as we knew it no longer existed. First contact had redefined everything: our place in the universe, our understanding of life beyond Earth, and the power of a single moment. The being, though alien in form, was not the monster we feared. It spoke not of conquest, but of revelation. It carried knowledge beyond our comprehension, insights into existence, warnings of dangers unseen, and perhaps, a test for humanity itself. Some nations welcomed the encounter with awe and unity. Others feared what they did not understand, seeking to control or destroy what they couldn't comprehend. But one thing remained clear: the choice was ours. Would we embrace the future with open minds, or let fear drive us toward destruction? As the spacecraft prepared to depart, it left behind a single message, one that would echo through history forever. We were never alone. We were only waiting for you to be ready. And just like that, it vanished, leaving humanity at a crossroads. What happens next depends on us. If this story made you question our place in the universe, imagine how much more remains hidden beyond the stars. Join us at Galactic Humanity, where we explore the unknown, uncover the secrets of the cosmos, and push the boundaries of human understanding. Subscribe now and be part of the journey as we unravel the mysteries of space, because one day, first contact won't be just a story.